Welcome to the But She's Your Mother podcast, where we talk about all things related to being raised by narcissistic parents. Our guests are adult survivors of child abuse. Please note that this podcast is intended for mature audiences and may feature topics such as emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, domestic violence, self-harm, suicide, murder, and eating disorders. Opinions expressed by guests and survivors are their own. Some names may be changed or blocked out to protect minors, victims, and survivors. Thank you for listening to But She's Your Mother, the podcast.
Times I gave up on myself just because of even embarrassment, because when you're alone at these meets every single time and you have to pack your own lunch and you have to sometimes call a friend for a ride because your mom's hungover, it's very embarrassing when you're a kid.
Yeah, well, especially, you're trying to fit in and you know that you're different. And so
Yes.
anything that highlight that you are different, we're going to
Mhm.
that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We know we're not like everybody else because our parents aren't treating us the way we see parents treat their other children. So we assume that we're the only one going through what we're going through, right?
Mm-hmm.
That feeds into that isolation and the knowledge that somehow we've deserved that. We've done something to bring that on because other kids that look similar to us, they're not going through that, right?
Yes. Well, and when you have a parent that shows that they don't love you, you don't think something's wrong with them. You think something's wrong with you. And you walk around for years feeling that it's on you. It doesn't leave. So then what? And I ended up being a people pleaser, constantly overdoing, constantly giving gifts, constantly cooking and bake. I mean, I did like so much in the friendships because I felt like I had to in order to bring value. It never occurred to me I could just come as myself,
Yeah. Well,
and that did,
you were groomed for
yeah,
that in the beginning, just in terms of the way that you had to take care of your younger sister and your mother, and even work through
yeah.
school and pay the bills. And you were super groomed for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when you finally went no contact, no contact, I interrupted you,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go backwards. How did that roll out?
I called my mom and tried to have a conversation with her about things I was upset with. And she said to me, I'll never forget these words. And I was upset. And she goes, and I was crying because I'm hurt. And she's like, why are you doing this to yourself? And I don't know why. That was one of the most hurtful things. She's always invalidated my feelings. So I wasn't expecting much, but that just took that mother wound and just like sliced it wide open. And I just cried. And I just wanted to talk about it publicly because at that time, I had been following a few of you, seeing all of your stories and you guys coming out and healing loudly. And I had been wanting to for like a year. So I think that sentence finally just gave me the courage of like, you know what? I'm going to tell my story. It's over. She's never going to be my mother ever. And I started talking and I didn't know I was going to blow up. And I don't think anyone knows that. I mean, did you think that when you started filming and posting, you don't know you're going to become an influencer, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm an influencer.
I experimented with it and I woke up in the morning the first time I posted something and it was like
Yeah.
something really small. I hadn't used TikTok at all before. And I woke up in the morning and I'm like, oh, there's 30,000 views on that. How did that happen? And then by that evening, there was like 200,000 something views. And then, it just keeps feeding on itself. And it was like, wow, I might have a voice that might do some good, right? You have videos that have gone to the bajillions, like I think 11 million, one of them or something.
Yeah. I have one at 11 million. I have a couple at 4 and 5 million. It's weird when that happens. And here's the funny part about that. I had talked to my one sister that I was really close to. We'd never even had a fight before, ever. This is my baby sister that I really raised like my own kid. And I told her what I was going to do, and I started posting and making videos. I don't know what happened, but on around Christmas time, my videos started going viral. And I think it's what everybody, I didn't know this was going to happen, but you know what? God works in mysterious ways. God, the universe, whoever you believe in. Because I did a video that said, because my mom, it was a funny joke to her. It's not funny to me. When we were kids, this went on for 15 years or 10 years or something. She would say when she went out, oh, I'm only going out for one. And she'd never come home. And then we call the bar. I call over and over and over. And she'd say, I'm just going to have one more. I'll be right home. So it was like an ongoing joke. Oh, I'm just going to have one, just one more. So anyways, circling back to that, I made a TikTok about it. And I just said to all the bartenders in 1985, thanks for telling me my mom wasn't there when she really was. Very helpful. Da, da, da. And it blew up. And I guess somebody from the town, a previous classmate of mine, it went out, showed up on their FYP, and this is what I was told, so this is allegedly, that he went up to the bar, the same bar my mom still sits at, and showed her that video. I mean, I can tell you I was terrified at first. I was like, oh God, what happened? I didn't know that was going to go viral. I didn't know my family was going to see any of these videos because I did.
Real quick though, what were you terrified of?
Retaliation. My family's retaliated at me before on other things. Ice me out, tell everybody I'm the crazy one that lives in the city. I'm the city slicker that's just a nutso. And I mean, they do these things, even though I'm the only one that has a college education, and not to be, diss anybody, but I did do quite successful things in my life. But however, anyway, so that video went viral and I guess they all saw it. And that's when my sister, the one that knew about it, completely cut me off, and I bawled for probably 3 months about it. She doesn't know that. She'll know it now, but that was devastating that she turned on me, and she knew the whole time, and she was acting to everybody else like she was in shock. And I'm like, dude, you were in on this with me. And I do have text messages between her and I that I did post. And then she said I edited them or something. I did not. I have those messages still that says, literally, I could read them right now. You heal how you need to. I did unfollow you because I don't want to relive the trauma. But then she goes up and she made a really mean post with my other sister saying that I was lying about all the trauma. I'm like, well, you're saying in the message you don't want to relive it. So did we have trauma or not? And then some people have sent me some videos of her off her TikTok where she's making content kind of like mine. One of the videos did look similar to mine, just saying about family, I think, not being there. I can't remember. It was so long ago, but it's that. So I did block a lot of people because I didn't know who was on my side. My parents, who can't even be in the same room together for my graduation, but now they together sent me a cease and desist. And that only ignited me. I mean, probably because of that is how I blew up so big, because I was like, you're literally going to try to silence me. And I'm like, and now you two are going to work together. You couldn't work together for birthday parties or graduations, but now you're going to work together to shut me up. And that just flew a fire. I'd been working with some other people on some stuff at that time too. And I just had a lot of support. So I just talked even louder after that. And that's when things started to really, all of a sudden I was at 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. And it really wasn't even about my family anymore at that point. It was the community I made. We were working together. Before my TikTok, outside of my sisters, I didn't know one person like me. Like you and I didn't know anybody that suffered that much abuse and neglect by their mother before. So it was incredibly, I'm more healed now than I have any therapy I have ever had, just from my TikTok community,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, healing out loud definitely brings a lot of a lot of healing, right? Because
Yeah.
it is that thing of knowing that we're not alone. It's like a gigantic group therapy. And
Hmm.
I mean, there's that aspect of it. And then, of course, there's also the aspect of providing education so that people know what to look for and what to say to kids who are going through
Hmm.
what they suspect is happening, that sort of thing. But my
Yep.
bigger part that I'm not bigger, but the other part that I really like about it too is that all the people out there who think that they're going to do this, behind those closed doors, now know that we have avenues where there's a point in time where we're going to
Yep.
speak, and the more of us that speak, the more people will speak, the more, intervention and prevention will happen. And we're
Yep.
making it acceptable to walk away from toxic people, no matter who they are. Right. I still hear, but she's your mother, which is why I named the podcast, but she's your mother. And I'm like, yeah. And like, that's the person who I'm supposed to be able to rely on. Right.
Let me say it back to you. But she's my mother.
But
Well,
she,
how could she
yeah.
cause so much abuse?
Yeah. And how can she, then go team dad? They couldn't show up for you, but they can show up against you. And that's so common in these systems. And even, with our siblings who grew up seeing it, all of a sudden they have amnesia because they don't want to lose those relationships, and so
Hmm.
it
Well,
leads,
and three of my sisters didn't graduate high school
yeah,
because of all that chaos and stuff, so and they still live back
yeah.
there. And I think they could have given themselves a chance if they were in a better environment, truthfully, obviously. You
Or even
know,
just had, one person on their side, but they also through their own learned behaviors oftentimes make that impossible. And
hmm.
go back in over and over again trying to work things out. Some people are just never able to break away, right? And so that brings me to like the question about, because I get asked this a lot, I see this float out there a lot.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
have your mother done, if anything, to prevent the no contact? What did you need from her that you didn't receive?
I think the basics. I mean, I feel like a monkey could do the basics of what I needed from her as a mom, honestly. Quit drinking, go to rehab, show up when you say you're coming. If she would have done those two things, I would have forgiven her and hung on. And I don't hold anything. I really don't have any ill will. I'm sure, my TikTok, I use dark humor sometimes to talk about some of the sad things, and they probably think I just hate everybody and I hate my mom. I really don't. I still I still root for my mom to go to rehab so she can be a better grandma to her grandkids. Not mine, because we're done. Like, I want her to eat, just not at my table, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I
Yeah.
still hope, but she's almost 70 now, and she's, from what I hear now, maybe something's happened in the last while since I've talked to her, but my what's been shared with me from other family is that she's drunk by 11 to 12 o'clock every day. She'll do butter shots at 9 in the morning when she's um off or whatever, so I don't know if those things are true, so I say allegedly. It's just stuff I hear, but um no one wants to see somebody's downfall. I think they'd like to see my downfall, though, but I don't feel like that toward them.
When we think about, like, obviously your mother's drinking problem, her alcoholism,
Yeah.
aside from that, it doesn't sound like outside of that she would have validated the things that she did anyway, or validated the things that you went through because of her neglect. Do you think that if she were sober, she would also be a different person, or do you think that part of it was the alcoholism and part of it is the person who she is?
I don't know, because when we were little, she was mean. I mean, she was very mean when we were kids. As she got older, we all kind of knew, like, don't call her before noon because she's hungover. Call her after like maybe 5, because then she's got a good buzz on and she's pleasant to talk to. And she is funny and she can be nice. when she wants something, I can tell you, she can put that charm on. I think I put that in one of my questions. If she walked in today and said, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 and she'd turn on the crocodile tears, she would leave with $500 if she needed it. And I would, and then afterwards, I'd be like, oh, she got me again. She knows it. I know it. I don't know how you ever get through that piece of it, of not being stupid. But I think my heart wants to always believe her. So that's why I have to say no contact, because I don't want to fall in that trap again.
I don't think that's about being stupid. I think that's about a base need to want to take care of the mother that you wished had shown up. I don't think
Yeah.
that's being stupid at all, right? And I think that we as victims and survivors so quickly are hard on ourselves with those kinds of judgments. But it's important for us to remember, like we talk about leaving a domestic violence situation, how it takes
Yeah.
like 7 times on average, right? Well, that's a person in assumably your adult life, and you married or you moved in with, and you fall in love with them, or you think you do, and they're violent and all of these
Yeah.
things, right? This is a person who created a foundation in utero, and you came out in love with them, and then desperate to have their love, right? You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, of course.
That is your first love. It's actually a wonder that it wouldn't take 20 times to leave that relationship if it takes 7
Yeah.
times to leave someone in your adult life. So it's not about, being stupid. It's really about being vulnerable and having that base need. And I think it's important for us to recognize that and forgive that, and to know that we have that heart that's still in place in spite of the fact that they tried to destroy that feeling in us. I rather lean
Yes.
back in than not, if leaning out means that I'm a cold person. Now, with my mother,
Yeah.
like there's nothing there anymore, thank goodness, or at least I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's been a really long time. But,
Mhm.
I said that, and 17 years later, she got me for a millisecond. And all she had to do was say, I love you. I miss you. Do you want a relationship? I had been out for 17 years. I'm like, yes, please. Right.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
So
I can't imagine not wanting that with your child.